Actually, hordes of highly sophisticated unidentified aircraft have been flying over U.S. territory. Things are starting to get really strange, Michael Snyder reports. First, a Chinese spy balloon, quote-unquote, was shot down off the coast of South Carolina after it had traveled across much of the continental United States. Then another unidentified object was shot down over Alaska. Subsequently, at the request of Canadian Prime Minister Justin Trudeau, a third unidentified object was shot down over Yukon, Canada, basically just over the Alaska border. And now we have just learned that a fourth unidentified object has been shot down over Lake Huron of the Great Lakes. In addition, a congressman from Montana is reporting that there is an unidentified object flying over his state in Montana. On top of everything else, China is telling us that an unidentified object has been flying near the Chinese port city of Qingdao. All of a sudden, these sightings have become the biggest news story in the entire country, and I think that it's likely that there will be even more sightings in the days ahead. But let's put all of this into perspective. The only reason why most people are freaking out about this story is because the mainstream media is freaking out about this story. If the mainstream media is ignoring the story, they would also be ignoring the story. We've been trained to believe that a story is important only when the mainstream media tells us it's important. If millions of Americans want to get excited about some balloons, that's fine. I will get excited with them. But the truth is that hordes of highly sophisticated unidentified aircraft have been flying over the U.S. territory for years. Let me give you an example. Starting December 2019, large groups of unidentified drones were repeatedly spotted flying over northeastern Colorado and western Nebraska. You remember those? They were the ones flying at night, and drones aren't supposed to fly at night. Now, the formation of identified drones, there were a swarm of drones, some in groups of 30, have been reported flying high above a corner of rural northeast Colorado and western Nebraska, usually from 7 to 10 p.m. By some accounts, the drones have wingspans of 6 feet or more, so they're huge. They can sit there and hover. They can descend very fast. They can take off very fast. Wyatt Harmon, who chased the drones as they flew over his land in Washington County, Colorado, told the Today Show. He and his girlfriend, Chelsea Arnold, said they pursued the lights for about 15 miles, driving as fast as 70 miles an hour. These drones were very large and could fly at extremely high speeds. Pretty soon, there were also sightings in Kansas. At the time, multiple witnesses reported seeing formations of up to 50 drones flying in precise grid formations. Meanwhile, neighboring Nebraska and Kansas were also dealing with their own mysterious drone swarms. From December 2019 to January 2020, residents of 3 states were perturbed by multiple sightings of numerous unmanned aerial vehicles, UAVs, with wingspans of up to 6 feet flying between 6 p.m. and 10 p.m. in grid formations. On the same night that Yo Vilena was receiving calls, a Nebraska deputy reported seeing 30 to 50 drones in the sky. Witnesses were alarmed by the size and speed of the vehicles. Quote, "It got to the point that we were fixing to take up arms," unquote, says Mike, 39, from Linden, Colorado, who wishes to remain partially anonymous. To me, a large fleet of highly sophisticated drones flying at very high speed is a lot more alarming than a few high-altitude balloons. Quite frequently, unidentified drones appear to be very interested in national security targets of a highly sensitive nature. In fact, from March 2018 to April 2021, there were 4 reports of unidentified airborne vehicle intrusions at sensitive U.S. government nuclear laboratories. Freedom of Information Act requests by the Washington Examiner have returned 4 reports of unidentified airborne vehicle intrusions at sensitive U.S. government nuclear laboratories between March 2018 and April 2021. In each case, security officers failed to identify the operator of these apparent vehicles or their intent. U.S. military bases and ships that belong to the U.S. Navy are also common targets. For example, last year, footage of a very alarming incident in which a drone swarm flew very close to the USS Zumwalt in April 2019 was released to the public. New footage from the U.S. Navy shows a drone swarm of unknown origin flying over the USS Zumwalt, a highly sensitive stealth destroyer, in the waters off California in April 2019. The video obtained by the War Zone via the Freedom of Information Act features a sailor describing a set of lights from 6 drones above the USS Zumwalt as he filmed the encounter. Of course, that was not just an isolated incident. According to an interim report that was released in June 2022, there were 144 incidents of unidentified aircraft flying near U.S. military targets over a period of 17 years. Sightings of what appeared to be aircraft flying without discernible means of propulsion have been reported near military bases and coastlines, raising the prospect that witnesses have spotted undiscovered or secret Chinese or Russian technology. An interim report released by U.S. intelligence officials last year counted 144 sightings of aircraft or other devices apparently flying at mysterious speeds or trajectories. In all but one of the sightings investigated, there was too little information for investigators to even broadly characterize the nature of the incident. But that was not the end of the story. Many more incidents were later added to that report, and ultimately the grand total reached a whopping 510 incidents. The March 2021 date represents the end of a preliminary assessment period by ODNI that spanned 17 years, during which there were 144 UAP reports. Since that date, another 119 incidents that took place before March 2021, but were not included in the preliminary assessment, were also reported, bringing the total number of reports to 510 as of late August 2022. So I'm glad that there is finally an uproar about the lack of security in the skies above our heads, because vast hordes of drones have been regularly violating U.S. airspace for a long time. And in case you're wondering, yes, drones can deliver weapons of mass destruction. Unfortunately, our leaders continue to move us even closer to cataclysmic conflicts with both Russia and China, and the death and destruction that such conflicts could cause would be unimaginable. So let's hope that our leaders will decide to reverse course and start pressing for peace while it's still possible to do so. Because if we stay on the path that we're on, eventually someone will make a mistake and that will not be able to be erased, and then millions upon millions of people will be in jeopardy. This is by Michael Schneider. He says it's finally here. Michael's new book entitled End Times is now available in paperback and for Kindle on Amazon. About the author, my name is Michael, and my brand new book entitled End Times is now available on Amazon. In addition to my new book, I've written 6 other books that are available on Amazon, including 7-Year Apocalypse, Lost Prophecies of the Future of America, The Beginning of the End, and Living a Life That Really Matters. When you purchase any of these books, you help to support the work that I'm doing, and one way that you can really help is by sending copies as gifts to family and friends. Time is short, and I need help getting these warnings into the hands of as many people as possible. I have published thousands of articles on the Economic Collapse blog, End of the American Dream, and the Most Important News, and the articles that I publish on those sites are republished on dozens of other prominent websites all over the globe. I always freely and happily allow others to republish my articles on their own websites, but I also ask that they include this about the author section with each article. The material contained in this article is for general information purposes only, and readers should consult licensed professionals before making any legal, business, financial, or health decisions. I encourage you to follow me on social media on Facebook and Twitter, and any way that you can share these articles with others is definitely great help. These are such troubled times and people need hope. John 3:16 tells us about the hope that God has given us through Jesus Christ. For God so loved the world that he gave his only begotten Son, that whosoever believeth in him should not perish but have everlasting life. If you have not already done so, I strongly urge you to invite Jesus Christ to be your Lord and Savior today. This is by Michael Schneider on the Economic Collapse blog. Please leave your comments, and thank you for your support. Kindly support my Patreon account. The daily posts are 5 videos daily, and they are totally different from what I have on my YouTube channel. Thank you so much for your support. and that you find all my content so interesting. You'll find the Patreon account details in the description box